Okay, well, I guess we're rolling. So welcome. I'm Alex Stockton, the operations manager and the race director over at the Goal Foundation. And today we're sitting down with Mr. Rick Fennell, who's one of our Ogden Marathon lead volunteers. And just for a little background, the Ogden Marathon is a great community event operated by the Goal Foundation, which stands for Get Out and Live. The planning of the event has its high and low work seasons, but it's really a 12-month cycle. I have been the operations manager and race director for the last 2 years. Over that time, it's become immediately apparent that this community event couldn't be put on without the help of what we call our lead volunteers. And so these little segments here, we're going to take some time to interview those volunteers and get to know them. As I've gotten to know these people that put on the event, it's been a priority to kind of find a way to share a little bit about them with the community. You guys are the magic behind the event, and we truly couldn't put it on without you guys. So again, Rick Fennell, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I call you our shoot manager. And that's the title name that I've given you, but historically maybe it's been different. So let's start with a little intro of yourself, your current position at the Ogden Marathon, and about how long you've been involved with it.
Okay. Thanks, Alex. Rick Fennell, I think it's been about 14 years.
Wow.
I started out over in the expo, and this is back when it was at the train station. And so it would go from setting up at the expo that night before the marathon, and then tearing it all down, and then bringing everything over to the park, setting it up again that night before the marathon, and then participating. And I thought, hey, that was pretty fun. I'd like to do that again the next year. So currently I've been doing the finish line shoot coordinator manager for the rest of that time. So roughly 12, 13 years. The first couple of years were over at the expo.
Wow. Nice. So 14 years ago, like 2010-ish, I guess?
Yes.
Okay. And just so the listeners or viewers know, we had our 24th marathon, 23rd marathon this year. I should know that. But so you've been involved for a long time, 2/3 of the years that it's been around. Who was the kind of head of the organization back in 2010?
How I got involved was Steve Lister, who had just started volunteering with Goal as well. And we were at a kids' soccer game, and he said, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Do you want to come out and help out? And I'm like, sure, that sounds fun. So he brought me in, and then from the expo, he kind of said, hey, how about you join me over at the finish line? Followed him over there. Matter of fact, my wife and I both started out at the expo, and she's stayed at the expo, and I've, branched off, if you will, over to the finish line. So
awesome.
It's been fun the whole time.
Yeah, that's cool. That's awesome. Steve Lister, I've met him a few times as well, and he's a former Goal board member, heavily involved with the organization. I'd love to chat with him a little bit more in the future too. So with your kind of finish line and shoot management, let's do a little overview for those that don't know kind of your position, even the day before and into race day, kind of the things that you're doing for us on a yearly basis here.
Okay. If I can back up a little bit, say 10 years ago, the activities would start roughly about in October. And we would get together and do a lessons learned, what could we improve, and just meet about every month until the start of the new year, the start of the new calendar year. And then we were meeting on the weekly to try to dial things in. And now we fast forward to these last few years, and we have, the plan is down, the layout is really dialed in. Things are in a great place, and so my work starts a few weeks, maybe a month before the marathon. We get together, we review everything, make sure the setup is where we want it to be, as far as any little changes, any little tweaks in the finish line, and we review that and how we're going to execute. And then about a week before, we're tying off again, making sure everything is there. it's always appreciative to have individuals like yourself that are so down to the detail of every activity, every step in this process to make sure it's there.
Paranoia is what I like to call it, but yeah.
So the real work starts on, you're there, I believe, on Wednesday, starting to lay things out. And lay things out means you're out there with spray cans and marking off where everything is going to be. Then Thursday, that's finished up. Friday morning, it's go time. We have fencing and vendors and the finish line. The arch is showing up, standing up, and we start out about 7:30 on Friday morning, and it goes pretty much till sundown. I know you're still there till, I think you're pretty much there all night.
Yeah.
And then the day of the race, 3:30 in the morning, we're meeting to start organizing ourselves with bus loading, and it's go time. So it's so much fun.
Yeah. So that day before, one of the big things you do that maybe you don't take as much credit for as you should, but we've got about 100 banners that go out on these pieces of fencing, and it's really pretty spectacular for a race of this size. That, and I know it hasn't always been that way, maybe that many banners, but as the runners cross 24th Street and run that final block down Grant, you guys lay that out with all of our sponsors and community partners and stuff, and it looks really nice. And so that's a big lift that you guys do that I think is really awesome. And then after busing on event day, what is your kind of role as you move over towards that finish line and shoot? What are you managing throughout the day then?
As I transition from loading over to the finish line that morning, it's just buttoning everything up, making sure the finish line chute is secure. First priority is ensuring that the runners are safe, that there's nothing that would prevent that. And then the second thing is to make sure that all the fans that come out to cheer all the runners on, is that they're safe as well as present all the sponsorship with those banners. It really is impressive to look down that finish line chute and see all the sponsorships on both sides. But throughout the day, just manage and answer a lot of questions with the runners, ensuring their safety, helping them move along, get through the chute, get their medals and a drink of water, some nourishment, and just keep things moving.
Yeah.
And then once that last runner crosses the finish line, we do everything in reverse to start tearing everything down, organizing, coordinating, managing all those hundreds of volunteers that are there to help us out, and just get things torn down and put away so we're ready for the next event.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah. A couple of big days. I think you explained it well. I would say, 16-hour plus days, on that Friday, Saturday there for sure. And it takes hundreds of volunteers to get it done. So, kudos to everything you've been doing to help manage what is a pretty exciting place to be. With that being said, and it might not be from the finish line shoot area, what are like one or two of your most memorable moments over the years with the marathon?
There's always the excitement of those runners, the accomplishment that you can see on their face, and as they, scan the finish line looking for family or friends, and then you can easily see who's cheering them on because their hands are above their head, they're ringing cowbells. That's always fun. I can picture some of the runners crossing the finish line, dropping down on both knees and kissing the ground. A few years ago, we had a couple cross the finish line. The guy dropped down on one knee and proposed to his girlfriend. Recently, last year, there was, as I was in the finish line, there was a lady that came up to me and she said, "Could you make sure that," and she said the runner's name, "Could you make sure that her name is announced as she crosses the finish line?" And I said, could you give me a little more information? And she said, well, she's originally from Ogden. She grew up here, and about 10 years ago, she moved away. But a few years back, she was diagnosed with cancer. She went through chemo, and she's in recovery. But during that time, she decided she wanted to run a half marathon, and she chose Ogden Marathon. That's where she wanted to do that. And I said, yeah. And she said, she handed me a card and said, here's all the information. Here's the bib number. So I took it over to Shane and explained it to him. And I kind of backed off. And she said, she's really close. She should be here anytime. And it took a little bit of time. And then all of a sudden, Shane, when he saw her bib number down there at the end of the chute, he announced her name. And you could see her coming down the chute. And it was difficult for her. And she had friends on both sides. And as she crossed that finish line, the emotion on her face and her friends that were cheering her on and screaming and crying, that was, it really is a memorable thing to see what these runners are accomplishing. Because, 99% of the time you don't know that backstory that brought them to that point, to that finish line. But they lay it all out, and it's fun just to be a part of that and really to share and highlight this great city here too. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's super cool, man. A lot of good reasons that people are out there moving, and so many individual unique stories, and cool that we have so many different people out there witnessing them from different angles and getting to capture it. That's what I find really pretty neat about it. Let me see what else we got on here, Rick. So we covered what got you involved with the marathon. That was your buddy there. And maybe we spoke to this a little bit too. Obviously you have a lot of fun out there, and that keeps you coming back. And some of these powerful moments that you get to witness and see the good in humanity. Those are all the things I think of. Any other, values or reasons that kind of bubble up to the top of what keeps you involved here with the Ogden Marathon? When you were introducing this little interview and you talked about goal, get out and live, I thought I enjoy the volunteer spirit of the community. And I don't think everyone realizes that what army it takes of volunteers to put on this event and to highlight and showcase Ogden and Weber County, because it starts up in the valley, and it's just a beautiful marathon, but all the behind the scenes activities and volunteers that are here, it's a great part. It's great to be a part of that. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I think it goes under recognized, like what volunteering does for individuals these days. And I find myself in that category too. Like, I'll think of doing something and I'll be like, man, I don't really have time though. I got so much going on. And it's one of those things, just like running on a hot day or getting to the CrossFit gym when you're not feeling like it. Like, when you get there, you realize it was the right choice, you know, and it's super meaningful. But 100%. But it is true. It's like, volunteerism takes work and effort, and it all pays off when you're there doing it. But sometimes hard to plan for in the moment for any of you guys out there that are thinking about coming out and volunteering, I guess. So Rick, real quick, I wanted to just also let the community know a little bit about like what you do for a day job or hobbies, or what's your form of getting out and living. Like, give us a little bit more beyond the Ogden Marathon 14-year. Okay. I went to Weber State, graduated in their manufacturing engineering program, have been in the area ever since. I'm currently with Parker Aerospace as a supply chain manager. And my hobbies, I love skiing, boating, hiking, mountain biking, all the same thing that everybody else enjoys in this area. Just just being outside, being outdoors.
And you are a CrossFitter though, right? Correct?
I am in CrossFit.
You try not to say that because everybody knows that CrossFitting is like pretty intense.
I don't want to.
That's awesome, man. So you do live the role though of getting out and living, and that's awesome. I didn't know you graduated from Weber State, so that's also really cool.
Yeah. Go Weeb Cats.
Nice. Anything else? Oh, I got something actually before we ask anything else that you might want to add. There's one little tidbit. We'll see if it makes it in the full cut or not. But I'd seen this once or twice before. I've been putting on large events for about a decade now, which is crazy to me. And I have some gray hairs to prove it. But one of the things I noticed in my first year with the Ogden Marathon, and that we actually had to go out and get more of, you came to me and you said, hey, we're running low on kitty litter. Get out and have somebody get some more. And I think this is a little behind the scenes that many people wouldn't know. What do we do with the kitty litter out at the race finish line?
When some of the runners have given their all and they cross that finish line, some of them end up throwing up right beyond it. It's interesting how so many runners are at a good pace, nice cadence. They cross that finish line and their bodies just collapse almost. I mean, it's done. And then sometimes you've got some vomit that occurs. So the kitty litter is quick to clean things up. And when I mentioned earlier about some of the runners that cross the finish line, drop down on their knees and kiss the ground, I think, you don't know what I just cleaned up over there. So I don't know that I would do that or recommend that, but I understand why you're doing it.
Well, we sanitize it as best we can.
We do. Right.
So that's the pro move. Kitty litter dries it out and gets it off there effectively without creating a mess, and it is very important when you have 6,000 runners of all types and abilities pushing themselves to like various limits. You know?
Try to run around it, not through it.
Yeah, that's one interesting thing about the finish line too that I think is cool. And you see the kind of very popularized historical ones where people fall down 10 feet before an Ironman finish or something like that. But there is this internal clock and it comes out, more in some people than others, or depending on their particular experience, where like they're done. The body shuts down. They might puke or they lose power of their legs, and you're there, and our Intermountain Health team is there with wheelchairs to work them down the chute, and it's really a treat, man. So it's cool that you get to be a part of that.
It is. There's so much energy and just that sense of pride and achievement that you see on the faces of the runners as they cross that finish line, get their medal, and then they're scanning the fans to see where family and friends are at so they can go over and high five. It is the best place to be on the whole marathon by far.
Well, we're happy to have you there with your 14 years total and 12 some years experience at the finish line. We love it. Anything else you want to say to the Ogden Marathon community?
No, other than if you get an opportunity to come out and cheer on the runners, if you get an opportunity to join Goal, even if it's for a 2-hour, a 4-hour session, schedule that in. You'll enjoy it. It's great to be a part of the community and advertise what a great community and what a great event we have here.
Awesome. Well, and if you schedule for something at the finish line with the marathon, you might get a chance to meet the man himself.
Hopefully I don't bark out orders.
He's a different man on race day. Mr. Rick Fennell, man, thanks for sitting down. We appreciate you taking the time, and looking forward to seeing you out there at the finish line next year too.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Perfect.